Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Paul K. Lemaire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q this morning. And you know what's really weird? What's really weird here is that Wheels was supposed to come in, but he's not here. I don't know where he is. You know, when you get old, you start forgetting things. He may have forgot to come in, and that's happened before. So we're going to we're going to start without him. If he wanders in the studio, there's a mic here, there's a chair there. Hey, he can just sit down and start talking, and we'll get through the preliminaries before Wheels gets here. He might have forgot. You know, these old age sets in, man. Okay, so we are here at City Council Agenda Review Day on this Monday. 13 degrees out there, man. It's chilly willy, and it's chilly willy. I'll tell you that. 29.56 on the barometer. It's high, so that's why we have a day with no snow finally. 52% humidity. Very dry out there. And yeah, you got to go. You don't want to be going commando in this cold. I'll tell you that right now. Put on your long underwear. Enjoy the heat, because I'll tell you, you talk about shrinkage, George Costanza and shrinkage. This will do it to you. Okay, so let's get into my sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And then we'll get into the review as soon as I get through my sponsor. We'll take one of them at a time. One at 12:30, one on the half hour, one right now, and that is Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. And you've seen the last few days how cold it's been out. Now, I can't even imagine standing outside my car waiting for CAA to come and save me. No, that's not what I want to do. And if you're even concerned about that, if your car's not running right, if it's giving you a little problem, take it to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership, and let him check it out for you. Ken Hunter will check it out, and he'll make sure that your car is running A1, tip-top, everything's great, top to bottom, A to Z. He's going to check it out and correct any items or any issues with your car. That's the smart way to do it. That's the best way to do it. Be proactive with your car. It's got a full body shop there. If you get in a wreck in this weather, you know the roads are terrible. Some are even slippery and still snow covered because it hasn't let up. This cold has stuck around for the last 3 weeks. So you want to make sure everything's okay with your car. You want to make sure it's running right. You don't want to break down. That's the last thing you want to do. So what do? You take it to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Go to wildbillsauto.ca. Check out their website. You can make appointments. You can do everything there, see all the services they provide, and get your car in to make sure it's running good. You don't want it to break down right now. It's not much fun, I'll tell you that. Support our sponsors. They support the show, and we thank Ken Hunter for supporting Your City, Your Voice, and we advise you to go down there. Now, while you're at his website, wildbillsauto.ca, what you want to do is jump over to Paul Lemaire 4973. That's my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave a comment. I got a bunch of comments that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, not on today's show because I have to get through the City Council agenda. But tomorrow will definitely be a day where I'll be reading the comments, and there's a couple of really good ones there. And my eyes from the cold are just watering here. It's terrible. It's nice in here. It's warm in here, but outside it's cold. Yeah, so leave a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, help out the channel. It helps the channel, it helps the algorithm, helps to get the show out there to more people. We have a lot of city council meetings coming up. We're spending a lot of our money, and we have an election coming up in October. That's right, you'll be getting out to vote for King James the Weird and Councilor the Velvet Hammer, Vic Peterangelo, and the Chump Mike Strange, and Fritz von Cario, Councilor Fritz von Cario, and Diamond Laurie, and Nodos, and Only Eight, and the Polish Rifle. They're all going to be running for council. Maybe you got to make a decision here. Not to mention all the new people that are going to be running, and we'll see what happens with amalgamation at the region. So Yeah, it's going to be an interesting spring, summer, and fall moving to the election, and you want to be involved. You want to know what's going on. Yeah, tune in here. You'll find out, and you'll learn all the nicknames of all the counselors. Not to mention the penguin and the squirrel. I haven't even talked about them. So, okay, so another week, another city council meeting. Wheels is usually here by now, so I would say he fell asleep. He fell asleep or forgot, whatever. You never know, though. He might come wandering in any second. You don't know about him. He's all over the place. But there's been a lot going on in the last few weeks. We've had a lot of city council meetings because of the budget. They brought down the budget the end of January, and this is a follow up to that. So a lot going on. So we go through the preliminaries, the usual preliminaries in city council, and we have "O Canada" being performed by Tanisha Chima. And we thank Tanisha for coming out and doing an a cappella version of "O Canada." It's tough to do in front of a crowd, and we got to give her credit for getting up there. I take Tanisha is a female. Can't wait to see her sing tomorrow. The meeting starts tomorrow at 4 o'clock, remember, between 4 and 5. So tune in tomorrow. We're just doing the review on Monday, so it gets out to everybody and they can see what we talk about. Tanisha's going to sing "O Canada," so fantastic. Congratulations. It's tough. And I'm sure she'll knock it out of the park. So we start with item 7.1 after we go through the preliminaries of pecuniary interest conflicts and and the mayor's delegations and all the other crap that goes on at City Hall. They talk about making the meeting shorter. My contention is that these different award ceremonies should be held at the venue that pertains to the actual award. So sports awards, Gale Center, city awards, or any of that kind of thing at the McBain Center. Any kind of arts and culture awards or anything like that at the Exchange, the big white elephant we have. That's where they should be. Get them out of the business meeting, which is the city council meeting. It's a business meeting, and that would be great. So we start out with item 7.1 is one you're going to want to watch. 13-page dog and pony show telling us all about the diploma mill called the University of Niagara Falls. Now, they claim in this presentation. Did I just hear that last week with the Make Work program called the Innovation Hub? Although that was 50 pages. That was the biggie. That was the big bologna sandwich coming out there. Well, here's another one. 7.1. They have 12 programs. Woohoo! And 3,000 students and 200 plus staff. Now, do they think we're stupid? 3,000. Where are they? You go downtown. If you see 50 students, you're lucky. 3,000 students where? I don't know. Can anybody answer that for me? I have no idea where they are. Where are all these people? I'm telling you, downtown, if you had 3,000 students, you know what they'd be doing? They'd be flooding the streets. You wouldn't be able to move down here. But you shoot a cannon down when everybody's at school. There's nobody. 50 maybe I've seen. Maybe 50. Maybe 100. And 200 plus staff. Where? That building don't hold 3,000 students and 200 staff. Well, they got two staff for every person? I don't know. It just seems like this is so crazy. These numbers appear crazy, but when any of these people do presentations, they give you some number, and I don't know where they get it. Show me, don't tell me. Where are the people? Well, if they're out of town, they're over in India or somewhere. Okay, well, you can say you have 3,000 students, but what good is that doing our downtown or the city of Niagara Falls? Right? I guess it gives them enough to give the University of Niagara Falls, what? What do they give them? $250,000? Yeah, something like that. And it's all hooked up, believe me. It's all this big intricate web of money moving around. But I'm downtown every day. I don't see 3,000 students. I don't see 50 students. They talk about how great they are, the University of Niagara Falls. Oh, all these courses. You can go to niagarafalls.ca and to the agenda. You can see what they showed the presentation. Don't take my word for it if you don't think I'm being, honest. I'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, but that's what's coming up in 7.1. Put a star beside 7.1. I gotta watch with these guys. It's unbelievable, but they'll be there, and of course they tell you everything great they're doing, but where is it? I don't know. I don't know. Mystery to me. But that's going to be the first thing, item 7.1, that you want to watch. Let's see what they say. And let's see if our council has any questions for the University of Niagara Falls. Usually these programs like this our council is pretty hands off. They don't ask a lot of questions. They don't ask a lot of questions about this. They just take the report and always just kind of let it go. They don't ask too many questions. So we'll see what they have to say. If anybody challenges them on this, if any of them hang around downtown, one of them does, Lori Lococo, for sure. She lives down here. They'll know that 3,000 students, like, I wish they would ask them, where are they? Where are these 3,000 students? And the 12 courses, oh my goodness. Um, Masters of AI, that's one of the courses. Masters of AI, whatever that is, or whatever that means. I don't know. It's a visa program to get people into the country and skirt the immigration laws. I think that's what it's more about, and that's a big problem in Canada right now. Okay, so anybody, if you have a message for me, if you want to comment on the show today, all you have to do is give me a text at 289 994 7560. 289-994-7560. That'll get a message to me here. And if you have a comment on the show, a comment on what I'm talking about, send it in. I'll get your comment out. We'll talk about it. Item 8.1, schedule of user fees. So this is 47 pages. There's a couple of things in there, but most of the things in the schedule of user fees are really not going to affect the regular taxpayer. I looked through it. The water and sewer fees are going up. We know that. They always go up. And a lot of that has to do with what the region charges the city. They split it up between all of us. If it's more, well, they have to raise the prices. I found it interesting going through it that there's a return check fee of $40. I mean, I'm not questioning the fee. That's fine. What I'm questioning is, are there people who still write checks? I don't know. But I guess there are. They got the fee in there. Let's see. We have seen council waive fees. Okay, these are fees that we've seen them waive fees before. We've seen them waive a $700,000 fee before. So if you don't agree, go to council. Basically, anything you do in Niagara Falls has a fee attached, and they still don't charge enough because most departments are severely in the red. So these user fees, I think that they have to increase. And I'm talking about increase substantially. And I've gone through this before where I've said, hey, listen, all these programs should pay for themselves with user fees. The taxpayers shouldn't have to support any of these programs. And okay, I get it. Kids hockey or whatever the fee is. Sometimes they waive it and all that. Okay, I'm good with that. But for the most part, let's try to recover 50 to 75% of our fees and make it easier on the taxpayer. Not make it tougher on the taxpayer. That's not what we want to do. That's not what it's all about, right? So we should be looking towards raising fees to a level where we can recover at least 75% of our cost to run the programs. One thing I noticed is that parking fees need to be increased. Paying $1.85 a day to park seems really cheap these days. That's what it says. And I see a lot of lots charging $55 a month. I mean, that should be double, probably. Um, I think that there's a few fees that are overlooked. I think most of them are reasonable and could be raised 10% without a problem, with the goal of raising them so that we recover most of the money that we spend to provide the fees, to provide the service. Um, Looking to have a party? There are a lot of rooms for tents in city buildings that are pretty expensive to rent. Perhaps they should market them more. I was surprised going through the list the number of different venues that are available to rent out that are owned by the city. You can rent out rooms at the Exchange, at the Gale Center, at the McBain Center. At most city buildings have rooms that you can rent out for a small party or a gathering or whatever, and they're reasonable. So it's pretty cool. They offer that to people in the city. And I don't know if a lot of people know it, but if you go through that list in item 8.1, you will see the different venues and you'll be surprised. I think I was. But I think basically overlooking that, and I don't know if Wheels would agree with me or not, but at the end of the day, I think that the onus should be on people who use the services and use it to pay the fees to support it. And like I say, even if it's the taxpayer picks up 25% or something, we should move towards that model. Item 8.2, development charges, 383 pages. If you have any trouble sleeping, this will help you. Forget about counting sheep, count pages. Start reading this. I guarantee you're going to fall asleep. I can't say I understand it all because there's a lot of provincial regulations involved in these development charges. And I really, really don't think that council members went through all this. It's very, very tough. Tough. I skimmed most of it. I didn't go through all of it. It was just too much. It was too much. And it's all numbers, and I think this is one of the ones that staff probably goes. Now, some counselors might have went through and they may have questions. I hope they do. But it's really a lot of it is for the experts to deal with. The summary in the first six pages basically tells the story. The city owes $162,000 in refunds for overcharging development charges to builders. That's the one thing I did see. For some bizarre reason, they were overcharged or whatever, so it's at $162,000 as owed. Go through it if you like. 383 pages. If you're developing something, you have no choice. You have to find where you are in the mix and how much it's going to cost you. But other than that, yeah, it's a tough go. But it's there, and if you're one for numbers, you may want to go through it. Item 8.3. Excuse me. Is cost sharing for a water main along Chippewa Parkway, the riverfront phase 2 development, another amendment to the capital budget. This is the second one in as many meetings. The first one was for $2 million. This one's for $3.3 million. So a total already of $5.3 million amendment to the capital budget, and the ink is even dried yet. We just approved the capital budget at the end of November, in the beginning of December. So we approved all the expenses on the capital budget. Now we're adding another $5.3 million to it. And you'll see this as an ongoing theme throughout the year. We approve the capital budget. We get a 2% tax increase on it because they don't have enough money yet. During the year, they will find $10 to $15 million. I guarantee it. It happens every year. They'll find $10 to $15 million somewhere. Even though they've raised our taxes, they'll find this money and they'll adjust the capital budget. It always happens every year. Last year, I think it was $10 million they found. that we allegedly didn't have. So I keep an eye on this stuff. That's 5.3 million. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Don't forget it. Now, the one thing it's from development charges, the reserve funds. It's funded from that. And development charges can only be spent on certain things. But still, it's revenue. It's in there waiting to be spent on something, and it can be spent on a lot of different things, not just sewers, the water mains and sewers. And that there's a lot of things that can be spent on roads. There's a lot of things development charges can be spent on. So when they say it doesn't come out of the tax levy, well, that's playing fast and loose with the truth. Any money we spend comes out of our taxes, whether it's acknowledged as that or not. So development charges can only be spent on certain things, but when you spend them on these things, it's not available to spend on other things that we may need more. So this is a good expenditure. You got to have the water main. I mean, it's got to be ready for riverfront phase 2 development. So not a problem with it. More of just explaining it, but still, that's 5.3 million to the budget. Item 8.4, and this is one I was hoping Davey Wheeler would be in on, because I think he might have a different take on this than me. The world's largest teapot. That sounds like something good, right? Doesn't sound like it would be harmful or bad. Very benign. But what's really going on here is the Boston Beer Company wants to introduce its teapot beverage product, a cannabis-infused flavored iced tea. And my thing at this, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow too, is it's a no. I mean, this city's dealing with crime, drugs, overdoses, drunk driving, all the other stuff. You're going to let a company that infuses iced tea with cannabis basically advertise with this giant teapot, the world's largest teapot. Now, I don't think city council should be involved in this at any level. Now, that's just me. Call me whatever, but I don't think they should be involved. Now, do I think it shouldn't happen? No, go ahead. Have it. The bar over here had the world's largest mojito. So I agree that, let somebody deal with it. But I don't think city council should be involved at any level. And I'm not sure why they would support this. I don't think it's good to support it. I don't think that you should encourage drug use. I don't think you should encourage booze, people to go out drinking or anything like that. I mean, I know it's legal and everything else, but I just don't think it's something that council should approve. I think they should turn it down and let the chips fall where they may. I'm not sure why they would approve it. But hey, stranger things have happened. And I would expect that one of the councilors is going to stand up and make a case for, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. They don't allow booze advertising on billboards. They don't allow advertising of weed on billboards. So, there's a case to be made about saying no. But then again, there may be people say, hey, it's legal. Why not? What's the difference? It's up to everybody, right? I would say no, but that's just me. And I was thinking if Dave was here, he could probably give some insight into that. He always is good at talking about things like that. Okay, so we're halfway through the show here. Let me talk about my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And, whenever you get the hankering for a good pizza, the one thing you expect is consistency. You want it done right. And you know what? I'm going to go home and make a dough right after this. I got to make a dough. I don't know why. I just feel like making a dough today. But for you who don't want to make a dough and don't want to fool around with it, hey, Pete's Pizza is the place to go. They use the family recipe from the Mancinis. They've been around here 41 years, tried and true. Mancini family recipe for sauce, Mancini family recipe for crust. Then they take a beautiful blend of brick cheese and mozzarella cheese, put it on the sauce in the right ratio, and that's important as they build this pizza for you, and then they cook it to perfection. Now, if you've got a good base of crust, cheese, and sauce, your toppings are going to make it all that much better. And that's what you want to do. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, they know how to build a pizza and they know how to build it consistently. How do you get one of these beauties? 905 374 2222, or just go to their website, petespizzavictoria.ca. They have a full menu: panzerotti, chicken parm sandwiches, steak cheese sandwiches, steak and cheese poutine, everything you would want to order. They have, and you're going to like it all. It's all good. I've tried most of it, believe it or not. And then they've also opened a new location out on Thoroldstone and Kaler Road for the northwest part of the city. So they have Victoria, now Thoroldstone and Kaler. Pete's Pizza, Victoria Avenue. They use all the delivery services. Open till 2 in the morning on Friday and Saturday for your convenience. And they're open till midnight during the week. Hey, you know you want a pizza, just order one. And thank you for supporting our sponsors. They're good people, and they do a great job on making solid pizza. Now, a lot of people see this shirt. It says, please use it. And this is my expectation for council. I wear this shirt every city council meeting for a reason. Here's a guy holding a brain saying, please use it. And that's what we expect from our city council. Common sense. If you wouldn't do it at home, you wouldn't approve it for yourself. You won't approve it for the citizens of Niagara Falls. You want to take care of your taxpayers. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and sometimes they don't go for the taxpayers. But that's the job. That's why you got elected. So that's what you should be doing. Please use it. Very important. Okay, item 8.6, Niagara Parks Commission payment. And we get it got 1.2 million last year. I think it went up to 1.3 million this year from them in lieu of taxes. I mean, can you imagine what the tax bill would be if they had to pay taxes on all the property they own in Niagara Falls? It would be humongous. Way more than 1.2 million, but they give us 1.2 million in lieu of. Now, when you work it out, and I did the math, it's very simple math. We get 14 million visitors a year here, they claim. Divide that by 4 people to a car. So that equals 3.5 million cars. And you divide that by the amount they give us, and that works out to 34 cents a car. Now, with that many cars running on our roads and wearing down the roads and everything else, I think 34 cents a car is pretty cheap. I think that number should be $1 a car. Now, I don't know what deal the city has with it and all that, with the Parks Commission and everything, but I think that that number should be up. I don't think it's enough. Now, if you upped it to $1, that'd be 3.5 million a year instead of 1.2 million, 3 times the amount. And that 3.5 million could go to support the roads and that, because we know the roads down to tourist areas are a little bit better than most of the city. They keep them up because of tourism, right? So if they charged them more, we would have more to spend on them. So when I see that number, I'm just wondering if anybody on city council will get up and question it and say, hey, where did they get that number from? Where'd that number come from? Where'd they pull that one out of the hat? And why isn't it more? I mean, 34 cents a car, if you think about it, it's not a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on our roads. Well, we try to. They're in terrible shape. But, we've... Oh, the mayor's got his plan, $7.5 million a year now with this big better roads thing he's got going. And him and Eric Nickel came up with this idea. I think it should be 20 million a year, but that's me. But anyway, that might be another source of revenue there. We should be asking for more, I think. We'll see if any city councilors agree with that, or they just put their hand up and say, okay, take the report, and that's fine. And when you look at city council meetings, there's a lot of that goes on. I mean, where you have fees and stuff like that are low, and they have to raise them up. I know they don't like to, but we've got to get the city programs off of the taxpayers' back. And you always hear them talk about, well, we can't cut any more. We can't come in at a zero budget because we're going to have to cut services. Well, not necessarily, because cutting services is one way to do it, but actually having the services that are being used have the users pay or pay a higher percentage. So, we'll see if city council says anything about that one. Up to item 9.1, EV charger stations. They're going to be talking about that. I called this out in the capital budget. EV charging station, the price of them. The EV charging stations seems excessive and unnecessary at this time. I noticed they turned down the site at the Gale Center. I have to suspect it was because they didn't want to dig up the parking lot to install them due to the contamination under the asphalt, but nobody said that, and I don't know that for sure. But I know they're pretty protective of that parking lot, and they don't want anything to be dug up or upset the integrity of it. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's it. Now they speak of ROI, return on an investment. Well, they have the numbers. The net cost of installing is close to $1 million, with revenue anticipated to be $176,000. And I'm thinking that's very, very optimistic. Remember, anything you see in numbers are projections. Oh yeah, they have the past numbers, but they're just projecting the numbers now. And you figure EVs are going by the wayside. Whoever's bottom is bottom. Most of these big plants, Stellantis, Volkswagen, Toyota, Honda, GM, Ford, you name it, they're cutting their EV production because nobody wants them. So for them to project numbers that are 2 or 3 times what is the actuals are seems a little bit cuckoo, if you know what I mean. But they're projecting a lot more, anticipated to be 176,000, or probably be 80,000, 85,000. So, I mean, we're in the hole right away from the get-go if we spend $1 million. So I'm not sure about spending that money right now. And we'll see what council has to say, or if anybody looks through that and questions it. But, add another $500,000 from the Parks Commission partnership, and taxpayers are actually paying people to park their EVs in our lots. Does that make any sense to you as a taxpayer? It's costing us money for people to park there. So we're paying for them. They're not even paying for their own parking. So you have to question that expenditure right away. I wouldn't spend it. That's just me. Now, moving on to item 10.1, flag raisings. And my feeling on that. No flags. They said they're going to review their flag policy. No flags. It gets into geopolitics and stuff that you don't want to get into. Why bother? If they say no to everybody, they don't have to raise any flags that may be questionable, like the Azerbaijani flag they raised, which is a country that really doesn't have a lot of human rights and everything else, but they raised the flag and it shouldn't have been. And then you get the different factions. The Palestinians want their flag raised. The Israelis don't want it. Why get into this geopolitical crap in Niagara Falls if you don't have to? Just say no to everybody. And it also costs money. They've got to send people out there to raise this flag. There's always a contingent out there, and it's not free. And we have flag raisings. I mean, last council meeting, I think there was six flag raisings. Here's another one in this one, and it's like getting to be one a week now. Sometimes 2 or 3 a week. So just say no, and that solves the whole problem. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention to this matter. 11.2, Niagara Falls Hydro Holding Corporation, audited statements from 2023, 2024. You can go through all this. We'll talk more. I'll talk more about them tomorrow. I didn't plan on talking about it today on the show because I wanted to get through this agenda. With Dave here, it usually takes a little bit longer to go through the agenda because he has some points that he wants to throw in, usually good points. But basically, the audited statements from 2023 and 2024 are that. We don't have the 2025 yet, but it tells you about the money from the Niagara Falls or Niagara Regional Broadband. And I'll be talking more about that tomorrow. Item 11.3 is about the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband and exactly how much did we get for it. So when I was first looking through the numbers, they didn't really add up to what I anticipated. And that was because I got the number from Niagara on the Lake. Now, Niagara Regional Broadband, 75% owned by by taxpayers. Taxpayers owned it. And 25% owned by the taxpayers in Niagara on the Lake. They said they were getting 15 million. Do the math. We should have got 45 million. This is saying we got 37 million. So I was trying to figure it all out, but I think I have got it figured out. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But it's very, very confusing because there's long-term debt in the Niagara Falls Holding Company or Holdco. Listen, there's a bunch of different things here. We've got the Niagara Falls Holding Company. That's our that's our city councilor sitting on a board that is with Niagara Peninsula Energy. Then you got Holdco that owns Niagara Peninsula Energy, along with Pelham and I think West Lincoln, town of West Lincoln or something. They all own Niagara Peninsula Energy and have their own holdcos. And this is the holding company that holds Niagara Peninsula Energy. And then on the board of directors for the Niagara Falls Holding Company is the city councilors. It's a big, intricate web. It's very hard to figure out exactly what's going on with it. It's hard for anybody to explain, but the debt is $100 million. And I think the debt for Niagara Peninsula Energy is $100 million. And I don't know where this came from. I don't know why we're in so much debt, but it went up by $8 million this year, so I'm not sure. You can go through these numbers and try to figure it out if you like. There's no notes to any of the entries, so you're going to have to wangle it yourself. But they're audited statements now from, I think, KPMG, so they're past 2023-24. Whatever. I don't know if any city councils are going to go through and have any questions. It's certainly confusing. But if you read the correspondence from Jody Burdett, it's a 3-page memo from Jody Burdett. You should read it. It's under comments in item 11.3. If you read it, you'll get a better insight into it. And I've got to read it again. I read it once. I got to read it again. But read that while you're there looking at item 11.3, the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband, to get some insight into exactly what's going on with it. Now, 11.5 is another letter from Jody Burdett asking that a part of Queen Street be named in honor of Wayne Thompson. I think that's pretty neat, and I think it should be done. And I'd like to see the part right in front of City Hall named in honor of him. And this is a thing that they do. They name streets in honor of people. They don't rename the street. They just put an honorary sign up, like they did for Rick Rose at the bottom end of Queen Street by Taps, where the studio used to be. And I like that. I mean, Wayne has, it's hard to remember city council without Wayne Thompson. He was there for so long. Had to resign, of course. He just couldn't do it anymore. But I think that would be pretty cool. They named a building after him, the Wayne Thompson building, the old police station. behind City Hall, where a lot of our administration from City Hall had moved into. So that's pretty cool. And to name a street would be great. I have no objection to that. I think that basically it would be a great thing to see in honor of Wayne Thompson. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I'd like to see that, and I hope they take a suggestion and run with it. I can't imagine any city councilor voting this down, although we are talking about Jody Burdett here, and this council certainly, with Councilor Fritz von Cario and the rest of the gang there, they do have a um, to be polite. They just don't like Jody Burdett very well. I was going to call it something else, the opposite of a soft off. I was going to say that they have that for Jody Burdett, but I think this one it's going to be very hard to do it. But don't be surprised if one of them stands up and says, "Well, I don't know about that. We already named a building after Wayne, and blah 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 blah." So you never know. You never know. And I have no messages. If anybody wants to message me, 289-994-7560. So you never know what's going to happen with when Jody Burdett makes any suggestions at all. They don't usually read them, and they don't pay attention to them and try to keep them out of city council meetings and anything he says off the agenda. So we're going to see what happens with that comment for the 11.3, the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband, because he has asked to make a delegation. Last time he wanted to make one, they said no. He said he couldn't. Imagine that. You think we live in a democracy? Well, maybe for some people. So he'll talk more about that if he can get in and talk about it. And of course, asking as part of Queen Street be renamed for Wayne, I have no problem with that, and I think they should. That'd be a nice gesture. And I told you I did go to see Wayne. He's in the same home as my mother, so I went up and saw him, and he wasn't too good. He's not doing that great. Sad to see because the guy's sharp as a tack at one time, but now it's pretty sad, really. And I felt bad seeing him because I remember him when he was vital. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. He was sitting in here doing an interview. At the election time, 2018, like 2022, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And you saw on city council. So I think we should honor him. And I always got along good with Wade. Okay. And that basically takes us through a shortened city council meeting. It's not going to be a real long one, depending on how much that council wants to get into the Niagara Falls Holding Company audited statements and the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband. None of them have ever mentioned it except Councilor Lococo. She's mentioned this stuff before, especially the Niagara Regional Broadband. What did we actually get for it? The sale happened a couple of years ago now, and nobody ever released exactly what we got for it. I did see $22 million moved into I think it was the capital budget. I think it was last year. So I figured they sold it, and 22 million was a payment, partial payment for it. So I knew we were going to get more than that. But the question was how much more? And it looks to me like we got a good chunk more. I don't know where it is. I don't know where they've spent it, but they have bought a lot of land and stuff like that. It's very, very hard to audit this kind of stuff. And one of the payments is deferred until the end of 2026. So we got some money up front, and we had a bunch deferred to the end of 2026 from Cogeco, the payment. So it even muddies the water even more. And that's about it for me today. I would like to make the show longer, but without Wheels here, we usually talk back and forth. So I planned on having, more time here, taking up more time, but that's fine. We got through the city council agenda, and I've red flagged all the ones that you should be watching. 7.1 is going to be interesting. Put a star beside that. The University of Niagara Falls. 8.1 user fee update. If you want to go through that, see what they say about user fees, and see if any counselor decides that we should up some of the user fees, or staff recommends we up user fees. I still think there's room to move and charge more for some of the stuff. I'd like to see about 75% of the cost of any program covered by the people who use it, and let the taxpayers kick in 25%, but that's just me. I think programs should support themselves. But then again, I'd like to see them rent out the exchange, make it a medical exchange for doctors, and bring in doctors hired by the city. There's a lot of things I would like to see this council do and this city do to help taxpayers, but nobody ever does it. Okay, so we talked about that. Item 8.2, development charges, 383 pages. Good luck going through that. We'll see if they say anything about that, council. Item 8.3, cost sharing for a water main along Chippewa Parkway. Yes, we should do that. They're paying part of it. It's got to be built anyway for Riverfront Phase 2 development. It's good they're going to chip into that one. We got to kick in $3.3 million from development charges. This world largest teapot, I'm really, really interested. Item 8.4, what they're going to say about that. That's a little bit of a controversial one. If they're going to say okay, or they're going to say, well, they can do whatever they want, but City Hall's not going to be involved. We're not approving it or anything. You know, we're not gonna go in unison with you on advertising for a company that infuses iced tea with cannabis. Sorry. Item 8.5 is the planning draft of a subdivision and condominiums. And I forgot about that one. And that's yeah, okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. Item 8.5, I jumped it. You might want to listen to that. It's a new development at 3736 Montrose Road. Two elements, 182 townhouses and 75 stacked townhouses. The development makes sense. It's where the old Canadian Tire used to be. It's vacant land right now. They tore everything down. And it makes sense. They're going to put the stacked townhouses along the QEW, along that side of the lot, not in front to block anything. It's going to be at the back. And everything there is surrounded by residential anyway. To the north, we have residential. To the west, we have residential. To the south is commercial. And the other way is all residential. Anyways, the QEW, and on the other side, residential. So it fits in there. I can't see why they would turn it down. I really looked through it and I didn't see any concerns. I don't think there was anything, anybody in the neighborhood who they said they're going to build these that had any concerns. So I would say there's no concerns. That would be my thing. There's no concerns. And I would say that's going to be approved. Item 8.5, we can see if there's any discussions or anybody shows up to the meeting who has any objections to it. There was no comments and nothing. I don't even think anybody attended the public meeting. So that's going to be a good one. Now, the Parks Commission payments, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I want to see if they ask any questions or say anything about it. That's all I want to see. The rest, what else is going on here? That's another one I want to see. The return on investment on the EV charger stations. See if anybody picks up on that. Our sharp council and our counselors, are they going to pick up on that? Ask why we're going to put them in if it's costing us money, because when it's costing us money, we are us. The taxpayers are us. You know, the city has no money. Taxpayers give them the money. So let's see if us are going to watch the loss. And if the council who works for us is responsible to us to protect our money, are going to go along with it. Maybe not. Maybe they'll turn it down and say nope. And that's probably about it. Watch the Niagara Regional Broadband sale. You'll find out more. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. And of course, I'll talk about it on Thursday after the meeting, see what they said about these things and give you the lowdown and how inept our council is or how good they are. You never know what I'm going to say. Depends on what they do, how they perform. And I think Queen Street will get that little part of it renamed in honor of Wayne Thompson. That's it for me today. Tomorrow's Trash Talking Tuesday. I'll be talking about a lot of different things tomorrow. And of course, I'll be going through some of these items into a little bit more depth that we talked about today. Wednesdays, absolutely, even though there's shut down in the NHL right now for the Olympics. If anybody's been watching the Olympics, did you see those bags our Canadian people are wearing? I'll talk about them tomorrow and anything about the Olympics. Thursday's going to be Straight Talk Thursday, where I talk about city council meeting, what happened. I'll be watching it tomorrow night at 4 o'clock. Remember, it comes on tomorrow at around 4 o'clock. I'll be watching that and commenting on it on Thursday. And finally, Friday, another finally Friday as we move into the weekend. I'm gearing up on February 27th. I'm getting out of here. I won't be here for a week after that. I'm going to Florida. That's right. I'm going to head to Florida for a weekend. I'll be doing a couple of shows. I might do a couple of shows from Florida. You never know. You'll never know. I'll post them on YouTube, of course. You won't be on 4680Q. But I'm heading out for a week at the end of the month, and then I'll be back for March. And then we get into the crazy season. May 1st is a big day. It opens the nominations for city council. We might see a change for the region towards amalgamation with rumblings of Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, and Niagara Lake being one big Niagara. And if that happens, then everything changes for the election. Everything changes for the councilors and who's going to be running. But if they don't do it before May 1st when nominations open, I don't think they're going to do it. They've got to make a move towards this before May 1st. So we're coming up on a bunch of big stuff here. And I'll be talking about it all because that's what I do. Every day at noon on 4680Q Radio Live, I post the YouTube video by 3 o'clock every day. Around 3 o'clock, it gets up. And we'll talk. Leave comments. Go to my channel, Paul Lemire 4973, or search for Your City, Your Voice in YouTube. You'll see it. It's also on Rumble and X for those of you who don't like YouTube. It's on there every day and live at noon at 4680Q. Of course, Your City, Your Voice, Paul K. Lemire. Don't forget our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. I'm out of here for the day. Have a great day, everybody. Stay warm. If you're going out, bundle up. It's cold out there, even though it's nice and it's bright. It's cold, so you don't want to be getting frostbitten on vital parts of your body. Take care, everyone. God bless you all. I will talk to you tomorrow at noon on Your City, Your Voice. Ciao, ciao.